want to hear something? I will tell you that the first, and I'm a big music guy, right? The very first album that I ever bought in my whole life was Diana Ross Presents Michael Jackson and the Jackson Five. That's the very first
That's
album
amazing.
years ago. Yeah, so funny.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that's a good way to start talking about music.
let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay, now you're a very successful man bringing these successful shows. What's your secret?
I mean, listen, on these shows, the success is you build it around something that people love already, right? So people love music. They want to hear it. Most people have played that game with like, oh, what's the title? In fact, like on Beat Shazam, I always joke around. I go, they built an app to tell people what a song is. So you know that people want to know what the song is. So that's pretty easy to do. And then for lyrics, like everybody thinks they know the lyrics to a song and they don't really. And then when you take real people, you take somebody that is a teacher that makes, 40,000 or 50,000 a year, and you give them a chance and they really know their music, and you put them on stage and they sing a song and they're singing along, and then the music stops and the words disappear and they fill them in, and then they sing even more of the song than that, and they have a chance to win like big, huge money. People want to watch that, right? People want to watch because they want to see the music, they see the karaoke of it all, they can play along, and then all of a sudden this person is winning real money and you're watching them go on an emotional roller coaster. So you're hooked into the story of it, you're hooked into the music of it, you're hooked into the fun of it. And I think those are the things that make for a successful show. You want to make it so that somebody can watch and give them all the reasons to do that. And then you add in Jamie Foxx and like, oh my God, that's the glue, right? Or Niecy, and they're so fun and so animated and so good. So yeah, we have a lot of reasons for people to watch, hopefully.
Yes, and the energy that is felt as a viewer watching, and even as a viewer, you're just kind of like relating, feeling like, what would you do? Like, no, take it, no, leave, like, keep
Exactly.
going, you get into it. We're invested.
Exactly. And it's, we try to create a roller coaster, both for the viewer and for the contestant and the band. Like, if you're in the studio, you wouldn't believe it. Like all the camera people, they're like, oh my God, I thought she was gonna win, or oh, I didn't think she, like everybody's invested. So you have something special. But when you think about it, that if they're in Shazam, a song plays and they start dancing along and everybody's partying and everybody's doing that, and then the next thing is they've got a major decision to make or a reveal, and so it's this roller coaster of emotion, of money, of knowledge, and so yeah, it's all over the place.
So I'm curious, and let's start with don't forget the lyrics.
Sure.
How do you pick your contestants?
What's really hard, right? So we meet thousands of people to get to the however many people that you're going to see, right? So this season, I think we've got 12 episodes. And so in the 12 episodes, maybe you see 15 or 16 people. So imagine having to go through 2,000 or 3,000 people to get to that. But what you want, first of all, you need people that really know their lyrics, right? So they have to be tested and they have to know that stuff. Secondly, you want people that are going to be lovable on stage. You want people that, they have a reason, they've got a story, they've got something that makes them feel like they're compelling. You want some people, at least some of them, to be able to sing, right? Like, so, so you have all these things. So I always joke around and I go, listen, we've got a funnel, you put them all in here. To get through down here, it's very, very hard. They get tested 5 or 6 times before we ever get to me. And then, they have to go through a lot of stuff in order to get to, a meeting with me. But I meet every single contestant that goes on any one of our shows that we've ever had. So, you get on a Zoom just like we're on right now, and I would ask you some questions and we have some fun. And then I test you on 5 or 6 or 7 songs, whatever it is. And then at the end of that, I'm like, that person's making it, like that's going to happen, or you know what, it's not going to happen, they just didn't seem to have it for whatever reason. So yeah, it's hard.
Wow. So what's one story that really touched you while you were selecting your contestants for this new season?
So we had a woman come on this season, and it's a weird story to tell, I'm just being honest, but she came on and she said, listen, I have an illness that I'm not going to get better. I'm going to die. And you go, starting to tear up now. You're just like, oh my God, what do you do about that? And she's like, but one of my bucket lists is being on don't forget the lyrics. She goes, I watch it in my house. I scream out the answers. I do all this stuff. And she goes, I don't know when it's going to happen. It could be 3 years. It could be 5 years. It could be 7 years. She goes, I don't know if it's going to be 10, but one of my bucket lists is to do that. And you're like, okay, well, that puts me in a situation like, how do you say no to that? And then she sings great. She really does know the lyrics. She really does have a great story. She was homeless at one point. She had all these different things. And you're like, oh my God, like, how do I not put that person? And then we put her on the show, and she was incredible. And she told her story, and Niecy's crying, and she's crying. And, you've got stuff like that. We had another kid that was born with a deformed hand, and he went to something called hand camp, like band camp, a hand camp, right? Where everybody there had whatever their deformity, but it was all these people that had some kind of connective tissue. That kid taught himself how to play baseball. It's such a great level that he toured with the United States team and went to the Olympics and won a gold medal. And then that same kid is on the stage singing songs, and his dad was his backup. And you're just like, look what we did. We took this guy, and now he's here on stage, and he's playing for $100,000. And you're like, this is craziness. So yeah, those are the things that even before they hit the stage, you're like, oh my God, I'm crying on a Zoom. And then it's going to be great television. You just know it is, right? And then you just hope it all comes together. And for us, luckily, it did.
How do you shut off these stories and go on with the new one? How do you
Well,
disconnect? Because I feel like you're kind of a shrink too.
funny. Well, thank you for saying that. But that's part of it is you keep going, right? You go to the next one. It's right. It's like if you've ever been in a relationship and the relationship ends and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to find somebody else? And then you do. And so, for these types of things, I always look at what's the positive, not the negative, right? So on the negative side, you go, oh my God, like, that she's terminal and that's going to happen eventually. And there's nothing I can do to change that. But we also gave that person a chance to change their life. She was able to cross something off on the bucket list. And who's the next person that we could do that for? What's the next thing that we can do? Doing what we do is such a great thing because people look at it and they go, oh, you're in the game show business or whatever that is. But I go, no, I'm in the life-changing business. Like I take people and I change their lives. I put them on a stage, and the whole experience from the time someone puts in their application to their very first meeting that they have, I tell all of our people, like, make sure they get treated nice, make sure they get treated respectfully. Don't ever not return a call or an email. Like, this is life changing for these people. For us, this is what we do. We come to work every day and we're in Hollywood. And like, you could take that for granted. I don't, I love it every day, right? But you can take that for granted, but you don't want to. You want it to be meaningful for these people, that it really is something to them. They leave an interview and they go and they're like, oh my God, guess what? I was in an interview today for a TV show, and guess what? I'm going to meet the executive producer. And there are times where they meet people that are at that level and they don't care and they just run them through and it's sausage. And we're not, we look at every single person and we're like, this is life changing for them. Even if they don't make the show, they'll go back and they'll tell people, I had 4 interviews. I was that close to making it about, so you want to make it special for people. It's important.
Let's give some space for Beat Shazam, and we have Jamie Foxx coming back.
The greatest thing ever. I don't even know how to tell you how much I love this human being. He is one of the most special people on the planet. I love him like a brother. I can't even tell you. He's smart and funny. There's nobody more talented than him that I've ever met. And I've met a lot of people. I mean, I've worked with very, very high level celebrities, right? Jamie Foxx can sing, he could dance, he can act, he does impressions. He's just the greatest. He's the greatest dad, great family person, great personal friend. To see him come back after everything that he went through, and he walked on the stage, and we were there and we walked on together. We were on our way. We always do like a practice boot camp before every show. We do that for every show that we do to make sure that the host is practiced and ready to go and like they're really ready. And we walked onto the stage and both of us started crying, and then Corinne started crying, and you're just like, oh my God, like, look where we are and look what we get to do again. And it's a special thing, you know. He loves this show and he loves giving money to real people and Corinne does, and like all of those things that you see on TV, there's none of that is acting. It's all very real. So for us, for his family, for he and Corinne, for all of the crew that was there, it was really, really special. It continues to be special. I mean, I text him almost every day, just going, "Hey, I love you, miss you," you know, like every day. I love the guy. He's one of my favorite people. I'm telling you.
Sounds like you have a big family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Important. It's important to have the people that surround you. Like, you know, you want that. You want that in your life. You know, you want that kind of love.
Right. So tell me about something new that we'll be seeing for the new seasons, or at least for one of the shows.
Well, for Beach Shazam, what's really great is that, you know, we had a big set change in that the previous seasons we weren't able to have the band on the stage or any of that stuff. And so having the band on the stage with Nisi and with the contestants, now the contestants are 2 feet away from the band, it just feels like more of a party. It feels more intimate with everybody. There were some people that came on that knew how to play an instrument, so they went over and played with the band. Nisi's right next to it. So it all just feels very, very close. And again, it feels really like a party. On Beach Shazam, I didn't need anything more than having Jamie back. Having Jamie back was like what you needed as far as that's concerned. And then the contestants that we have, the things that we do, you know, we have this season, we're doing a teachers episode on Beach Shazam because we want to see people that really need the money have a chance to make the money. We did a heroes episode, which was really amazing too. We've got this team of firefighters against a team of doctors that work in the ER that are heart specialists. It was really cool seeing them. And then people that work, they're 911 operators. So they deal with like every emergency possible. So you get to hear those stories and all of that stuff. But getting Jamie back is the greatest gift that, you know, for the viewers, they're going to be freaking out because he's so great and he's so thankful to be there. And he tells stories about what he went through and all of that stuff. But for me, you know, having him back is the greatest thing.
We're gonna look forward to that interaction. That's for
Thank you.
sure. And real quick, Jeff, if you were to do the "Don't Forget the Lyrics," what song would you hope they be playing because you know all the lyrics to it?
Oh, there's a lot of songs that I know all the lyrics to. I'm a lyrics fanatic, but I think something like you know, if they did Hotel California, that would be amazing. If they did Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, that would be amazing. I could name, there's so many songs. You know, listen, I study that stuff, right? But there's also thousands of songs that I don't know or that I think is to this day, I'm driving in my car and I sing along and I'm like, oh, I got that wrong. Oh, you know, like I thought I knew that song. So that's the hardest game show on TV, by the way. Don't forget the lyrics. There's no question because every answer is multiple answers, right? So you think about it. If it's 3 missing words, that's 3 chances to get it wrong. If there's 8 missing, that's 8 chances to get it wrong. When you're playing for $250,000, we go up to 15 words. That's 15 chances to get it wrong. So to get $1 million on that show, it's like brutally hard. What about you? What would be your song?
Louis Armstrong.
Really?
I like the older music. I don't
Oh,
know.
I
I think
love
I'm an old
that.
soul. I think I'm an old soul.
I love that. I love that. You don't look like you look way too young to ever know a Louis Armstrong song. I love that you know that. That's great.
Yeah, no, I love jazz. I'm a sucker for like I've been recently watching these TBS documentaries on jazz. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm an
that's amazing.
old soul.
That's amazing. I love that. Good for you.
Thank you. And before I leave you, I can see in the backdrop
Yeah.
Loteria Loca, which I loved with Jaime Camil. And you were involved
Uh,
in that.
well, I created that show. Yeah, and Jaime is another one of my favorite. I just saw him the other night. We went to see Jerry Seinfeld at the Hollywood Bowl, and he was there. And I hadn't seen him in probably, I don't know, a couple of months. But Jaime is such a special human being. His wife Heidi. Again, we're all very close. You know, we love each other, and that was probably the most disappointing thing that's ever happened in my career that Loteria Loca didn't work because I wanted so badly to do a show that served an underserved audience with a piece of IP that was such a great game that people play in their houses for hundreds of years. And so we tried really hard. And you got to think, walking into the big networks and being able to sell a show like that, that's based on a Latin, it's all hard. So all of that, when it happens, you want it to happen. So yeah, that's the question. The question is, what was your most disappointing thing that's ever happened in your career? That was it.
You know what though? Awesome. I'm going to include myself because I'm Mexican, I'm Latina, so I have an appreciation for it. I think it was hard. It's harder maybe for the American market to understand it.
Yeah,
As we grew up with it, it was part of our childhood, part of our lives, and as teenagers, even as adults, my family, we sometimes during like holidays, we gather and we play.
totally. Yeah.
So had it been Latin America and in Spanish, I mean, it would be playing now.
Yeah. No, and we could have done that too. I just wanted so badly to share that Latin culture with America. Those things are important to me. It's important for the voices that aren't heard sometimes, and that don't have something. And there wasn't that game show, and I wanted it to happen so badly. And like when you watch the set, when you saw the set of Loteria Loco, that was built by hand in the studio. Like most of the time they build all the stuff and they bring it in and they put it in. But that set was hand built, hand painted. Like we went through it meticulously. It was like we wanted it to be super special. I wanted it to feel like you were playing in a square in Mexico. So did it feel like that to you? Did it feel, was there any?
I loved it.
Yeah, I wish that one would have worked. It was a really great experience.
Well, I agree. Me too, because I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, I'm
But
glad I made you happy. That's the key, right?
that's right. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for your time. Congratulations on these hit shows that we'll be seeing later this month. And I can't wait to see a lot more of your productions.
Well, thank you. And thank you for taking the time. And it was really, really nice meeting you. So thank you.
And I hope to see Louis Armstrong songs being sang this new season.
You will. You will.
Okay,
Spoiler
when
alert.
I'm watching and I'm like, oh, there it
That's it. You could say I called for it. I made a request. Jeff pulled it through. Done.
yes.
Awesome. Well, it was very, very nice meeting you.
Likewise. Thank you. You take care.
Bye.